This is the World Today weekend on CKNW News Talk 980. Once again, here's Sean Leslie.
Well, my next guest is trying to change the culture of the NDP. Dana Larsen is a marijuana activist, a former BC NDP leadership candidate. We had him on the show a number of times during the NDP leadership campaign. And he's the leader of a group of federal New Democrats called End Prohibition. That's attending the NDP National Convention in Vancouver this weekend. Hi, Dana. How are you today?
Hey, thanks for having me. It's been a great day.
Always appreciate you coming on the show. Hey, what is End Prohibition and what's your goal?
Well, you said it there. We're a group of New Democrats across the country who believe in ending the war on drugs and legalizing marijuana and making that health and harm reduction the basis of our drug policy and not just putting people in jail for what they put into their bodies.
What's the NDP's current policy on this issue, Dana?
Well, on marijuana, the policy book says that New Democrats support decriminalization of the possession of marijuana to get it out of the hands of organized crime. And for other drugs, we have a policy treating it like a health issue and not like a criminal justice issue. So we've already got what I think is some pretty solid policy on this kind of area. But our group would like to see a little stronger on that. Like many groups and political parties, you want to see them take a stronger stand on your issue. And, the idea about decriminalizing possession, well, where would you buy it? Where would you get it? If you can't grow it, if you can't purchase it, then you kind of, there's a flaw in there somewhere. So we've got a resolution which we were unable to get to the floor today, but it would have strengthened the party's policy on cannabis and I think sort of clarified it a bit stronger.
What exactly would it have said, Dana?
The policy we were putting forward would have allowed people, or would have said that the party supports people having the right to grow marijuana for their own personal use, and that there would be a mechanism for adults to be able to purchase marijuana at a store in some way. And it also would have called for the party to develop a more detailed drug policy when it comes to other drugs in terms of how best to regulate and control them, to treat them like a health issue and not like a criminal one.
Now, I was following your tweets from the convention. You were a little frustrated, I think, that some of the motions that were going for unanimous victory anyway were dragging out debate. What happened to your resolution? You said it didn't get up today.
No, well, there'll be 6 or 7 different policy sections, each with like 50 or 60 resolutions in them, and they'll normally end up discussing maybe a half a dozen of the top priority ones. And certainly, I think it's not just the NDP. Every political party, they want to make sure that they put out the resolutions that get passed are the ones that are going to make them look good and are going to appeal to a broad range of people. So there's always a tension between the grassroots groups that have their ideals that they want to push forward and the central organizers that want to make sure that everybody's on message and on things together. And so, yeah, sometimes you get a resolution where it's, we support socialized medicine or something that clearly we all know we're going to vote for this, and you'll get 4 or 5 speakers speaking in favor of it.
Yeah.
And those of us who want to get through more stuff find that a little frustrating.
So what happened? So is your resolution dead? Will it come up tomorrow, or have you missed your chance here?
Well, we're going to try to do some little emergency wrangling tomorrow and see if we can get it on the floor, but I don't think we're going to succeed. We need a pretty big majority at this point. We already have the chance for it to be debated. We were number 12 on the list. They got to, I think, to the first 8, and we just weren't able to get through everything fast enough in the hour time that we had before we changed sections. But
are you disappointed in that?
Well, I've been to a lot of conventions, and, we've passed resolutions provincially in pretty much like every province from BC to Ontario. Our group has been involved in writing and passing the drug and marijuana policy provincially. We've had a lot of success in getting those through provincially. We'll get something through federally eventually, but, after being in this for quite a while, I've had a lot of challenges in the NDP and a lot of successes as well, but I'm pretty stoic about the whole thing, really.
Is there resistance within the party, though, to this idea? You got an NDP now that's a federal opposition. They're not party number 3 anymore. They're party number 2, and they got to appear to middle Canada. Not a lot of pothead British Columbians here, Dana, if I can use that term. Is the party sort of trying to avoid what you want to talk about here?
Maybe a little bit. I think there's different factions in the party and different groups. And, at the grassroots level, going across the country, talking to thousands of New Democrats, I think there's a very strong majority like the ideas we're putting forward and believe that we've got to change our drug policy in Canada. And, I think a majority of Canadians support legalizing marijuana. It's like 60%, 90% support medical access to marijuana. That's more than vote for any political party in this country. So I like to think it's a winning issue, and that is something, if we took a bit of a stronger stand on it, I think it would motivate more voters and motivate young people to come out and vote for our party, and that we would do well. So I tend to be one who thinks we had a great success electorally without compromising our values. You know, we didn't win this last election by becoming more like the Liberals and moving to the center. We won it as socialist New Democrats. And so I think that's the way for us to go. But, you know, there's different ideas in the party, certainly, and I think Brad Levine, the party director, and some of the others might have a different view of things than I do.
Possibly so. Why are you so passionate about this issue, Dana? And we've talked about this before, I know, but you know, why is this such an important issue for you?
Well, I think it's one of the most important civil rights and social issues of the modern time, really. And people sometimes think that's an exaggeration, but when it comes to crime, when it comes to social justice, when it comes to health and welfare and using our police resources properly, when it comes to the economy and the billions of dollars that a taxed and regulated marijuana trade would bring into our economy, if you look at the prisons that the Conservatives want to build, these prisons are going to end up being primarily for people that are involved in the illegal drug trade. It's something we've got to change direction on in this country. And I think that from all those issues, never mind the industrial and the benefits of using cannabis hemp for paper and fiber and fuel and all those things. So to me, it's an issue that touches on a lot of other issues. It's one whose time has come, and I certainly hope that we see marijuana legalized not only in Canada but around the world within my lifetime.
Well, my listeners will know I agree with you. Dana, they're probably annoyed that I keep bringing this topic up. But last question for you. How would you describe Stephen Harper and the Conservatives' attitude toward pot users? You know, they won't even let medicinal users now grow their own. They still want to jail people for growing just a few plants. Meanwhile, I don't think we're going to be jailing most of the rioters from Wednesday night. How would you describe this government's attitude towards marijuana?
Well, I mean, it's shameful, and it doesn't respect human rights or civil rights or the benefits of this plant, and I think it's out of touch with what a majority of Canadians believe. And even the many newspapers that endorsed Stephen Harper in this last election, most of them also said, we don't support the crime agenda part. We're not really keen on that. Building more prisons isn't really the way to go. So I think that they're going to end up alienating a lot of Canadians if they continue down this path of more prisons, and they're really cracking down harder. You know, the supervised injection site, Insight in Vancouver, is really contentious. Vancouverites like that place. Even those who didn't like it before it opened like it now. It's won them over. And so I think that they're going to lose a lot of credibility going after these issues.
Dana Larsen, always good to talk to you. Thanks so much. Appreciate your time today.
Hey, thanks for having me. Let me just add endprohibition.ca. If you want to get involved, go there, endprohibition.ca. And thanks for having me on.
Good stuff. That's Dana Larsen, marijuana activist, former leadership candidate for the BC NDP. We'll take a quick break here on CK.